Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen and First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen organized a 3-year anniversary ceremony dedicated to the souls of First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen's parents. Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn inaugurates the Angkor Kitchen establishment to promote culinary diplomacy. Some 156 evacuees from the ruins of Mariupol's Azovstal steelworks reached the Ukrainian-controlled city of Zaporizhia. Surfers were greeted by wild surf as they fought to qualify from the round of 32 at the Margaret River Pro in Australia. And a new exhibition on world-renowned martial arts master Bruce Lee draws in fans and enthusiasts from across the globe while highlighting his wide influence. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Darshana Gauchan. Prime Minister Hun Sen and First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen have organized a 3-year anniversary ceremony dedicated to the souls of Boon Sing Lee and Lin Cree, Prime Minister Hun Sen's parents-in-law and First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen's biological parents. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more.
The ceremony took place on Wednesday morning with Prime Minister Hun Sen and First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen's family, relatives and friends in attendance. The Prime Minister and First Lady made offerings to bless the souls of Boon Sing Lee and Lin Cree with devotional service, giving alms and with dedication to the merits of the monks. The Supreme Patriarch of Cambodia bestowed blessings on the spirits of Boon Sing Lee and Lin Cree who have moved to the next world in heaven, asking for happiness, no distractions and blessings. The Supreme Patriarch prayed for the protection of the sacred objects of the deities in the world to please follow and protect the Prime Minister and First Lady and to continue blessing them with great power to win against all enemies and continue being the best leader in Cambodia in order to maintain peace and develop the kingdom to be more prosperous. It should be noted that Boon Sing Lee, the birth mother of First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen, passed away on the 4th of May 2020 at the age of 95. Dekanin, EAC News.
ស្វាព្យានៅប្រាប់បរិបទគាថានឹងទី2បរិយាករដែលត្រីបានអរតនានិមន្តពងសាសម្ដេចព្រះធម្មលិខិតសម្ដេចព្រះពុទ្ធជ័យមនីសម្ដេចព្រះសក្យមុនីសម្ដេចព្រះអញ្ជើញមកទទួលនៅ
khởi chứ khởi
Yeah.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Deputy Prime Minister Pak Sakhon, and the Honorary Chief Patron of the ASEAN Women's Circle of Cambodia, King Samvada, have inaugurated the Angkor Kitchen. This establishment is one of the internal reforms initiated by the Deputy Prime Minister to promote culinary diplomacy, an initiative which has also received the support of Prime Minister Hun Sen. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the details.
According to the press release issued on Tuesday, 3rd of May by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Angkor Kitchen was built for three main reasons. The first is to present the recipes of authentic Khmer dishes and desserts listed in an award-winning cookbook, The Taste of Angkor, which is a key to promote culinary diplomacy. The second is to organise culinary diplomacy training programs for Cambodian diplomats, especially for the spouses of ambassadors, to train them on how to cook authentic Khmer cuisine. And the third is to contribute to the royal government efforts to transform Cambodia into an upper middle income country by 2030 and a high income country by 2050, as the ministry believes once Khmer food becomes acceptable and well known, There will be more investment opportunities in different sectors such as the tourist and airline industries, as well as agricultural, production and restaurant and hotel expansions. The Angkor Kitchen inauguration ceremony was held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and presided over by the Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn and the Honorary Chief Patron of the Asian Women's Circle of Cambodia's, King Samvandra. Also attended were other ministry leaders and spouses of Asian ambassadors and Asian partners who are also members of the Asian Women's Circle of Cambodia. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. Culinary diplomacy is one of the strategies coming from the Foreign Affairs, as the Khmer food is growing worldwide. Anthony Ellis, EAC News, Phnom Penh.
The Secretary of State for the Ministry of Social Affairs and Secretary General of the Disability Action Council, M. Chan Makara, stated that people with autism and Down syndrome need the most attention among persons with disabilities. He said that since both are mental conditions that need to be maintained throughout a person's life, the presence and attention of parents, guardians, and teachers is essential and should be encouraged. EAC News reporter Dekanin has the story.
Speaking at a conference and celebration of Autism and Down Syndrome Awareness Day at Takmal Special Education High School on Wednesday, 4th of May, Secretary of State M. Chan Makara raised concerns about the challenges that people with autism and Down syndrome would face when they lose guardianship. He said that the government is now examining possible measures to help people with autism and Down syndrome during challenging times. He said, now they are young and small, so they are okay. But when they turn 20 or so, things will be difficult. Right now, they may have parents and teachers, so it's okay. But when the parents, guardians, and teachers are gone, who will take care of them? This is an issue that has no solution yet. According to the Secretary of State, the government is currently building the National Center for Persons with Disabilities of Cambodia, which is scheduled to open in 2023 as a place to help and care for all persons with disabilities. Secretary of State M. Chan Makara further thanked the teachers, parents, and guardians of children with autism and Down syndrome for their hard work in caring for and educating the children. He also suggested that schools set up a curriculum to inspire children with autism and Down syndrome as well. He added that the royal government decided to incorporate Hands of Hope Community into a public institution called Takmal Special Education High School in February 2021, which is a special education school for children with autism. The president of Cambodian Autism Network, Jan Sarin, said that people with autism are people with complex neurological disorders and other problems that occur regularly as they grow. He said, it can be said that it is a general, non-specific development in children with autism to have social difficulties, especially with people around them. No one has been able to confirm the exact reason why people have autism. According to Jan Sarin, the special education high school currently has 215 students with autism and Down syndrome and nearly 200 other students who are waiting to be enrolled. In addition, the school also sends students to study abroad to participate in both local and international competency competitions. Secretary of State M. Chan Makara said he considered the participation of parents, guardians, and teachers in the care and education of children with autism and Down syndrome as a contribution to the government, saying that these people should be further encouraged. He said caring for children with autism and Down syndrome requires a lot of attention. So typically, one teacher may take care of a class of only 3 students, unlike other teachers who may be responsible for a class of 25. The Secretary of State also expressed his happiness over the students with autism and Down syndrome who are able to participate in international competency competitions, which also reflects how the government has been taking care of persons with disabilities. He said that all of these achievements have been made possible due to the establishment of peace in Cambodia, which has made it so that persons with disabilities and children with autism and Down syndrome can receive proper care, education, and international opportunities. He also thanked the parents and guardians of children with autism and Down syndrome for taking them to get the COVID-19 vaccine and urged them to continue receiving booster doses at the request of Prime Minister Hun Sen. Dekanin, EAC News.
The Director General of the General Department of Customs and Excise, Kun Nyam, said that from 1st of July onwards, all right-hand drive vehicles that have not yet paid taxes will be destroyed or disassembled into parts. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
Speaking at the press conference on the progress of implementation of the collection of duty-free vehicles and existing import duties in the country on Wednesday, Director General Kim Nim said that until the deadline of the 30th of June 2022, the General Department of Customs provides people time to pay taxes for both right and left-hand drive vehicles. After this deadline, however, the department will take steps to increase the crackdown on vehicles with unpaid taxes. When caught, left-hand drivers' vehicles will be forced to pay their taxes, import duties plus fines, when right-hand drive vehicles will be confused to destroyed or disassembled into parts. The Director General said, in order to avoid any problems after the 30th of June 2022, the General Department of Customs has informed that it will strictly implement this principle. People should bring their cars to pay taxes. It should be noted that the right-hand drive vehicles for the remaining 2 months before the deadline, the General Department of Customs continues to deduct 10% of the tax. Additionally, to make it easier for members of the public, the General Department of Customs will continue to work on car tax payments serving during holidays. According to the General Department of Customs and Excise, of April the 30th, around 7,000 cars have come to pay their taxes, a totaling of $60 million. There's still thousands of cars who are registered that still not paid their taxes. Anthony Ellis, EAC News, Phnom Penh.
About 70 rare and endangered deer have been spotted by scientists in the grasslands of the Mekong landscape in Kratie Province, in images caught by camera traps and thermal drone surveys. EAC News reporter Deka Nin has the story.
The observation of 70 rare hog deer was announced by the Ministry of Environment on Monday, the 2nd of May. The images of the deer were obtained through photographic evidence from camera traps and thermal drone surveys, which showed the presence of multiple fawns, indicating that reproduction is taking place in the area. The research program was carried out by wildlife research experts from the Kachin Provincial Department of Environment and WWF, with technical support from the Biodiversity Inventory for Conservation NPO team, Thermal Drones GmbH, as well as by the local community and local authorities. The deer was spotted in a wildlife sanctuary under the management of the Ministry of Environment with WWF support. Additionally, the Ministry of Environment and WWF have stated that they are preparing a report on the status of the hog deer population in Cambodia, which will soon be released. The hog deer is listed on the IUCN Red List as a globally endangered species. Once thought to be extinct in Cambodia, scientists rediscovered the species in 2006 in Kachin Province. The hog deer are still, however, threatened by habitat loss, poaching, and a snaring crisis that is fueled by the illegal wildlife trade. To save the hog deer and other globally important species in Cambodia from poaching and snaring, the Zero Snaring in Cambodia Protected Areas campaign was created and officially launched earlier in March 2022, with the aim of eliminating all types of wildlife traps and ending the illegal wildlife trade. Nekanin, EAC News.
The Battambang Provincial Administration issued a notice on Monday to stop heavy vehicles from entering Battambang City. Such heavy trucks must now be relocated to warehouses outside the city. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
According to the Governor of Battambang Provincial Board of Governors, the order to stop heavy vehicles from entering the city of Battambang is to maintain order, public safety and road maintenance for the longer time. The provincial administration has also ordered warehouses owners to move outside the city road, providing them a maximum of 1 year from the time of this notification until the end of April 2023 to do so. As stated in an announcement, in the past some traders and other business people have been transporting items in trucks over the weight limit into Battambang City, causing damage to the road, and authorities received criticism for not preventing or banning the transport of such heavy trucks. As a result, the provincial administration will now have strict legal measures for all heavy transport vehicles entering the city of Battambang. During the process of warehouse relocation to outside the city, a plea has been made to warehouse owners who have not yet relocated to transfer goods using smaller vehicles and to prevent from using heavy vehicles that surpass the weight of 16 tonnes from entering Battambang City. At the same time, some people have expressed their views and hopes that the plan for the new governor will be effective, unlike the previous governor of Battambang, who initiated a plan and did not manage to follow through. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
And now for a look at news making international headlines this Wednesday, 4th May.
Senate Democrats will put forward a bill that will codify abortion rights into law this week, with a vote taking place next week. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said at a weekly press conference on Tuesday, May 3rd. The announcement comes after a leaked draft decision showed a majority of the country's top court would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, the legal precedent ensuring abortion access for Americans.
Republicans are spending all their focus on the leak because they don't want to talk about Roe v. Wade, where they know they're on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of American people. Let me say it again. Republicans are spending all their focus on the leak because they don't want to focus on Roe v. Wade, where they know they're on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of the American people. Try as they might, they can't distract from the truth. The blame for this decision falls squarely on Senate Republicans who spent years pushing extremist judges and justices while claiming this day would never come. But come it has. So in light of this potential ruling, I want to make three things very clear. First, it is our intention for the Senate to hold a vote on legislation to codify the right to an abortion in law. Second, a vote on this legislation is no longer an abstract exercise. This is as urgent and as real as it gets. We will vote to protect a woman's right to choose, and every American is going to see which side every senator stands on. Third, to the American people, I say this: the elections this November will have consequences because the rights of 100 million women are now on the ballot.
Biden has said that voters will need to elect more members of Congress who support abortion rights so that they can pass legislation making Roe v. Wade the law of the land. The Roe decision recognized that the right to personal privacy under the U.S. Constitution protects a woman's ability to terminate her pregnancy. Chief Justice John Roberts announced an investigation into how the draft authored by Justice Samuel Alito of the court's conservative 6-3 majority was leaked, calling it a betrayal of the confidentiality of the judicial process. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell on Tuesday called for investigation of the leak.
And I hope that the leaker, who is extremely likely to be found given the limited number of people who have the ability to access early drafts of opinions, will be dealt with as severely as the law may allow.
Senator Elizabeth Warren was seen blasting the Supreme Court hours after the draft leak. She said that the burden of this ruling would not fall on rich women who will have the means to protect themselves, but on the poorest women in the country. She vows to do what she can to protect the rights of women.
And I am here because the United States Congress can change all of this. Yes, it Angry but committed. Understand this. Understand this. I have seen the world where abortion is illegal. And we are not going back. Not ever.
If Roe is overturned, abortion is likely to remain legal in liberal states. More than a dozen states have laws protecting abortion rights. Numerous Republican-led states have passed various abortion restrictions in defiance of the Roe precedent in recent years.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said on Tuesday the 3rd of May that no one could assume that Russia would not attack other countries and Germany would support Finland and Sweden if they decide to join NATO. If these two countries decide to join the NATO alliance, then they can count on our support, Scholz told reporters after hosting the Swedish and Finnish leaders at a two-day cabinet retreat both in Berlin. He continued to say that it was clear that all the borders would not be moved by force and that the country's sovereignties must be respected. Russia broke this law, and that's why no one can assume that the Russian president and the Russian government will not break the law with violence in other countries at other opportunity. That's the reason why he and friendly countries decided to expand their defence spending. Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin said that European Union sanctions against Russia should be expanded, while Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson vowed to increase her country's defence spending to 2% of the GDPs as soon as is practically possible.
Inmates in Bolivia's overcrowded prisons are now able to knock small amounts of time off their jail sentences by reading books in a novel program copied from Brazil that aims to spread literacy and give hope despite a notoriously slow judicial process. The state program, Books Behind Bars, offers a chance to get out of jail days or weeks early. Bolivia does not have a life sentence or death penalty, but preventive detention can last for many years due to a slow judicial system. The program has been launched in 47 prisons that do not have resources to pay for education, reintegration, or social assistance programs for prisoners, the Andean country's ombudsman office says. So far, 865 inmates are sifting through sentences of prose to edge closer to freedom while improving their reading and writing skills. One inmate is Jacqueline, who has already read 8 books in a year and has passed 4 reading tests. It's really hard for people like us who do not have relatives outside, who have no income, she said. There are people here, for example, who are just learning how to read and write. Nadia Cruz with the ombudsman's office explained that the main focus of the program was giving hope to inmates awaiting trial, trapped by the country's notoriously slow justice system. This is important because what is reduced on the sentences is relatively little. It is hours or days in some cases, depending on what the board decides, she told Reuters. It varies from prison to prison and from book to book. With a daily salary of 8 Bolivianos, which is equivalent to $1.18, the inmates are forced to work to be able to eat and pay the high court costs if they ever want to get out. Baking bread, knitting, or doing laundry for outside clients are some of the jobs available. Without this income, inmates cannot afford to purchase goods such as toiletries. Learning to read can help escape the prison walls, at least in the mind, said Mildred, an inmate at the Obrajes Women's Prison in the highland city of La Paz. When I read, I am in contact with the whole universe. The walls and bars disappear, she said.
Yo he visto que el hip hop para ellos es una forma de expresión muy fuerte.
Some 156 evacuees from the ruins of Mariupol's Azovstal steelworks reached the Ukrainian-controlled city of Zaporizhia on Tuesday, 3rd May, after cowering in underground bunkers from Russian shelling for weeks, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said.
In his address to the nation, Zelensky accused Russia of breaching agreements to pause fighting long enough to allow vulnerable citizens to move to safety. Nearly 10 weeks into the war that has killed thousands, destroyed cities, and driven 5 million Ukrainians to flee abroad, Russian President Vladimir Putin raised the economic skates for Kiev's Western backers on Tuesday by announcing plans to block an export of vital Russian raw materials. Mariupol, a city of 400,000 before Russia launched its invasion on February 24th, has seen the bloodiest fighting of the war, enduring weeks of siege and shelling. The head of the Red Cross in Ukraine said on Tuesday, 3rd of May, that the unknown numbers of civilians remain trapped in Mariupol and surrounding areas after evacuating more than 100 civilians from the Azovstal plant. How many people are left behind? I don't know. I simply don't know. I would assume there were others because I was not told that they have taken all of them, Pascal Hundert from the International Committee of Red Cross told journalists by Zoom. Hundert added that there were some who did not want to board the bus. I can confirm that some of the people who went out of Azovstal did not want to come with us on the convoy. I don't have a figure, but some. A few clearly expressed in front of us that they did not want to board the bus, he said. He also expressed concern about signs of intense fighting had resumed in and around the plant, but said the ICRC would continue to press and access the remaining civilians. Dozens of evacuees who took refuge for weeks in the bunkers of the steelworks of the Russian-occupied Mariupol reached the safety of Kiev-controlled Zaporizhzhia on Tuesday. Mariupol sprawling Azovstal Index complex and its bunkers and tunnels becoming refuge for both civilians and Ukrainian fighters as Moscow laid siege into the city of the Sea of Azov.
Firefighters battled to put out a blaze in Ukraine's western city of Lviv on Tuesday night, 3rd of May, after explosions hit power stations. It was the first time that the western Ukrainian city had been rocked by such explosions at the same time. The explosions caused citywide power outages. Mayor Andriy Sadovyi said the blasts were caused by missile attacks that damaged 3 power substations at 2 pump stations, and the municipal authorities were using backup power sources to supply water. Lviv Mayor Andriy Sadovyi said airstrikes had cut off electricity in some districts and injured 2 people. The city's military administration said in a statement that 6 missiles struck the city from the Caspian Sea. 2 of the missiles were shot down, 3 others hit the power substations, and the 6th one hit Ukraine's westernmost Zakarpattia Oblast. Reuters could not immediately verify reports of battlefield developments. The western city of Lviv has been spared most of the fighting since Russia launched its invasion. Located near the Polish border, Lviv is hundreds of miles from Russia's advance, and it has been one of the main destinations for Ukrainians forced to flee battle zones. Russia has turned its heaviest firepower on Ukraine's east and south since failing to take Kyiv, the capital, in March. They also struck targets much further west in a drive to limit Ukraine's access to the Black Sea, vital for its grain and metal exports, and also to disrupt supplies of Western military aid to President Volodymyr Zelensky's force. Police used batons to break up a clash between Hindus and Muslims after Eid prayers in India's northwestern Jodhpur city on Tuesday, 3rd May.
Media reports said the tension between the two groups began on Monday, 2nd of May, when a flag marking the birthday of Hindu god Parashuram was raised in Jodhpur Jewelry Gate the same day as Muslims were celebrating Eid, the end of the holy fasting month of Ramadan. The two groups clashed on Monday and media reports said police were injured. Clashes broke out again on Tuesday. In recent weeks, religious clashes have broken out between the majority Hindu and minority Muslim communities during religious processions in several parts of the country. The rule of Prime Minister Narendra Modi Hindu Nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party has emboldened hardline religious groups in recent years to take up causes that they say defend the Hindu faith, although his party has denied any rise in communal tensions during Modi's reign. While communal violence in India is sporadic, clashes erupted across the country in early 2020 over a citizenship law that Muslims said was discriminatory. Dozens of people died.
Let's have a look at today's finance. The CSX index is currently 524.87 points, up 1.03 points, or 0.20%. The daily exchange rate is 4,050 Khmer Rial to the USD. Now a look at what else is happening in finance around the world.
Stocks rise, US yields slip, and market await Fed rate hike. A gauge of global equity markets edged higher on Tuesday while 10-year US Treasury yields slid from 3% levels as investors remained cautious, expecting the Federal Reserve to hike rates by the most of the single day since 2000 to curb inflation. Investors expect the Fed to hike rates by 0.5 percentage point today as it detailed plans to reduce its $8.9 trillion balance sheet. The US Central Bank raised its policy interest rate by 25 points in March. MSCIS All Country World Index rose 0.39%, and the Pan-European Stock 600 Index gained 0.53% the day after the flash crash in Nordic markets caused a trade involving a single Citigroup sale order. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 0.2%, SP 500 gained 0.48%, and the Nasdaq Composite added 0.22%. 9 of the SP 500 sectors rose, led by 2.87% gain in energy, while oil and gas jumped 4.1% in Europe to lead markets there. Overnight in Asia, Australian Central Bank raised its key rate by a bigger than expected 25 basis points, lifting the Aussie dollar as much as 1.3% and hitting local shares. The Bank of England is expected to raise its rates on Thursday and the fourth time in a row. The dollar dips before Fed, Aussie gains after a rate hike. The US dollar slipped against a basket of currencies on Tuesday as investors evaluated how much the Federal Reserve expected move to hike up rates this week and beyond already priced in. Fed funds futures traders expect the Fed benchmark to raise up 2.89% by the year end, from 0.33% now. The dollar index was last at 103.43, down 0.12% on the day after reaching 103.93 on Thursday, the highest since December 2002. The dollar index hit 20-year high last week on expectations that the US Central Bank will be more aggressive than peers in tightening policies, with inflation running at its fastest pace in 40 years. The Aussie dollar jumped after Reserve Banks of Australia raised its cash rate a surprising large at 25 basic points at 0.35%. The Aussie dollar was last up 0.6% at 0.7094 cents. The euro rose at $5.26 after 0.1% after dropping 1.047 last Thursday and the lowest since January 2017. Oil climbs 1% after US crude stocks signal tightness supply. Oil prices rose at the start of Asian trade on Wednesday after industrial data shows drawdowns in US crude and fuel stockpiles, raising supply concerns and offsetting worries about slowing demand and a top import in China. Brent crude futures rose 89 cents or 0.9% to $5.86 a barrel by 2 o'clock GMT time. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 97 cents or 1% to $1.38 a barrel. In United States, crude and fuel stocks fell last week. According to the market sources citing American Petroleum Institute figures, crude stocks by 3.5 million barrels for the week ended in April 29th. During the previous sessions, demand worries streamed up China's prolonged COVID-19 lockdowns. The crude travel plans during the Labor Day holiday session caused prices to fall by 2%. European flash crash was the latest of many global over the past decade. The sudden drop in European shares on Monday following the enormous trade in the narcotic markets in the latest example of a flash crash, which the price of an asset quickly drops before bouncing back. The term flash crash became part of the market's lingo after the Dow Jones Industrial Average created more than 1,000 points in May 2010, wiping out nearly $1 trillion of shareholders' value before most rebounding in a matter of minutes. Here are some of the examples of recent flash crashes. December 4th to 5th, 2021, cryptocurrency Bitcoin crashed, wiping out its fifth of its value of the leading of $2 billion worth of positions being liquidated. February 25th, 2021, the prices of treasury securities dropped sharply amid staying liquidity conditions before recovering an hour later. August 26, 2019, the Turkish lira tumbled as investors cut risk exposure, briefly boosted and safe yen against the lira. January 3rd, 2019, major currencies expected a flash crash against the yen, driven primarily by technical, not fundamental factors. October 7, 2016, sterling lost as much as 10% of its value in just a few minutes of trading, fueled by concerns about the vulnerability of currency and British access to Brexit. In 2016, a London-based trader was convicted of manipulating the futures market in a way of contributed of 2010 crash. August 24, 2015, US equity markets and equity-related future markets experienced unusual price volatility, sending the SPDR SP 500 FT Trust down 7.8% 5 minutes after the market opened. The EFT recovered its losses within the next 5 minutes. October 15, 2014, the market of the US Treasury Secretaries experienced high levels and volatility of Treasury futures prices fell rapidly amid diminishing liquidity. The incident sparked a regulatory investigation while they found the since the cause. It noted record trade volumes, a decline in order book depth, and changes order to flow of the day and have contributed to the crash. May 4, 2010, unsettled market conditions combined the massive sell order for the popular future security sent the Dow plunging around 9% in a matter of minutes before rebounding. So latest news of finance, tune in tomorrow for more.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favourite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Surfers were greeted by wild surf as they fought to qualify from the round of 32 at the Margaret River Pro in Australia on Tuesday, 3rd May.
Good taper on it if they can get a handle onto it.
Big takeoff. And now setting up a huge bottom turn, Jack Robinson.
Jack Robinson caught the biggest wave of the day. The Australian scored 14.83 to comfortably defeat Lucas Messinas of Peru. Also through to finals day is Ned Young of the US, who defeated his fellow Californian Jack Marshall in the powerful 10-foot serve. There was not such good news for another American, 50-year-old Kelly Slater, who was eliminated in round 3 by veteran Brazilian surfer Jetson Andre. South Africa's Jordy Smith also went through. He beat Ezekiel Lau of the US to qualify.
After so many years trying, here we go, Nat Young. Nat Young.
The Sydney Opera House is one of the most recognizable structures in the world, and since its opening in 1973, has played host to a who's who of world leaders, artists, and performers. Dominic Di Tommaso, an Australian freerunning star, is the first to be granted permission to freerun on the iconic site for a unique performance of his own.
The 29-year-old former garbage man has a background in ballet and figure skating, which provide perfect for his transition to free running in creating his unique style. For his latest project, Dom Di Tommaso, Freerunner's Guide to Sydney's Opera House, Di Tommaso was given the keys to the Opera House, getting to free run areas at the large concert hall, the rafters in the ceiling and the back of the house and more. Di Tommaso performed a series of thrilling flips, jumps, runs and rolls, culminating in his first ever backflip on top of the iconic sails. He revealed, "It is every free runner's dream to take on a major iconic landmark. To be able to do exactly that in my hometown at the phenomenal Sydney Opera House was a dream I've had since I started free running. It more than lived up to my expectations. It blew them out of the water. The interesting architecture was such a great space to work with for movement and physical challenges. The highlight for me was doing the backflip right on top of the sails. It was really special and it's been a career highlight for me working alongside the Red Bull to bring this vision to life. I hope it delivers some excitement and inspiration." He added, "Of all the things I found in the Opera House, the most mentally anguishing was running across the exposed rafters above the dining hall. I think I'm not as comfortable on the bars as I am other obstacles. The brain works in mysterious ways sometimes." The decorative free runner has carved out a reputation of exploring unique location used free running. His previous projects have seen him perform against the backdrops of Burgess rooftops in Belgium, the pyramids of Egypt, and Istanbul's Great Bazaar in Turkey.
And now for a look at how the weather will be playing out tomorrow. And finally, A new exhibition on the world-renowned martial arts master Bruce Lee has been drawing in fans and enthusiasts from across the globe, while highlighting the wide influence the Kung Fu movie star had on many communities.
The Chinese Historical Society of America's VR Bruce Lee exhibit, which opened in San Francisco, Chinatown on April 24th, looks at many aspects of the martial arts star decorated life. It particularly explores Lee's popularity across socio-economic classes in the US, where he was especially popular in minority communities that were underrepresented elsewhere in popular culture. Collector Jeff Chin has loaned around 300 artifacts to the exhibit. Among them are items from the Green Hornet TV show that starred Bruce Lee as the Green Hornet's sidekick Kato, including a document that shows Lee was paid less than actors with minor roles and even less than a stuntman. As a child, Chin says he was bullied so badly that he developed an ulcer, but a poster featuring Bruce Lee inspired him to fight on just like his hero. The exhibition features a number of interactive displays to get visitors involved and thinking about how Lee sought to live his life.
Our exhibition here is to, see Bruce in those different ways and then to show him beyond what people know him as, like the stereotypical Kung Fu master. He's beyond that. And then also, the goal is also to connect with the African American community.
Bruce's first student was African American, and he worked with many other students from the African American community. A connection explored in an entire floor of the exhibition called The Underground.
We were invited to contribute to the story of Bruce Lee, and in particular to sharing the love and affinity and respect that the Black community, and then we expanded it to communities of color.
Those attending the exhibition are encouraged to share their thoughts on what Bruce Lee meant to them.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, you can check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Smart TV, Telegram, or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.